The movie opens with a brief background into the world of Panem, a nation divided into 12 districts ruled with an iron fist from the capital. Years ago, a failed rebellion against the capital was met with a brutal punishment. Each year, each district must offer 2 children aged between 12 and 18 in an event called the Reaping. Then the children are transported to the capital for a televised fight to the death called the Hunger Games. The lone survivor then becomes the victor and is free to go back to their district. After the brief history lesson, we meet Cesar Flickerman, the flamboyant host of the games, interviewing the head game maker, Seneca Crane, about the upcoming 74th Hunger Games. Meanwhile, in the impoverished District 12, young Katniss Everdeen lives with her mother and younger sister, Primrose. Ever since their father's death, Katniss has become the rock of the family, providing both emotional and practical support. One day, young Prim has a nightmare where she dreams that her name was chosen for the Hunger Games. Before Katniss goes out for a hunt, she soothes her younger sister down with the local song Under the Willow. Katniss ventures into the Forbidden Forest, crossing the electric fence that confines the poverty-stricken District 12. Coal mines dominate the landscape, reflecting the bleak lives of the struggling residents. Guided by her keen hunting skills, Katniss tracks down a deer. Just as she prepares to shoot, her friend Gale Hawthorne interrupts, allowing the deer to escape. However, he helps her bring down a bird to trade with the Peacekeepers, a police force who patrol the streets on behalf of the capital. Their hunt is abruptly interrupted by a colossal aircraft hovering above. Emerging from the ship is Effie Trinket, District 12's advisor, who is arriving to prepare for the Reaping. Children between 12 and 18 assemble in Freedom Hall, divided by their age groups. Effie plays a propaganda film glorifying the capital before drawing a name from a bowl. Prim's nightmare becomes reality when her name is chosen as the girl tribute. Witnessing her fragile sister's selection for a brutal televised death match, Katniss steps forward, volunteering for District 12. This unexpected act stuns Effie. On the other hand, Peeta Mellark is then chosen as the boy tribute. As Katniss and Peeta shake hands, we see through a flashback scene that Katniss has somewhere previously seen the boy, but the memory remains incomplete for now. Effie whisks the bewildered tributes away on a high-speed train to the capital. For the first time, the 2 kids from District 12 witness true luxury, a spacious cabin adorned with mahogany furniture and overflowing with food they've never seen before. Peeta attempts to initiate conversation with Katniss, triggering flashbacks of him feeding pigs at his father's bakery. However, Katniss completely ignores him. On the train, they meet Haymitch Abernathy, the sole survivor of the Hunger Games from District 12, a cynical alcoholic. Haymitch offers 2 bleak pieces of advice: accept the probability of their death and understand that he cannot save them. He then retreats to his room with a glass of liquor. As a persistent Peeta follows him, Katniss flashes back to a brutal game scene casually displayed on television. Later, she joins Peeta for breakfast with Haymitch. He emphasizes the crucial role of sponsors, wealthy individuals who can send gifts during the games and determine their survival. They soon approach the capital's train station, a stark contrast to District 12, technologically advanced, spotless, and populated with people dressed beyond the comprehension of their dirt-covered hometown. While Peeta gleefully waves at fans at the station, a sarcastic Haymitch advises Katniss to keep a knife, implying Peeta already knows how to win over the crowd. As their capital journey begins, Katniss and Peeta are cleaned and prepped like cattle before meeting their stylist, Cinna. Unlike the others, Cinna expresses genuine empathy towards Katniss instead of celebrating her forced participation in the games. He emphasizes the importance of making a good impression and dresses the tributes in shimmering clothes that ignite with a vibrant flame. At the tribute parade, held before President Snow and a live audience of hundreds of thousands, their spectacular flaming attire draws thunderous applause. Following the parade, they are shown their living quarters and begin their intensive 4-day training. On day 1, they are warned about the dangers of natural causes like dehydration and exposure and encouraged to listen to their survival instincts. During group exercises, Katniss observes several exceptionally skilled kids from wealthier districts who excel in combat and strategy. At dinner that night, Haymitch reveals that these individuals are career tributes from privileged districts like 1, 2, and 4. These careers train rigorously from a young age and often form alliances during the games. This news demoralizes both District 12 tributes, particularly Peeta. He points out Katniss's exceptional hunting skills, recalling her ability to kill squirrels with a single shot between the eyes. In response, Katniss acknowledges Peeta's extraordinary strength, having witnessed him effortlessly carry heavy flour bags at his bakery. However, it is Peeta who shares that even his mother believes Katniss has the potential to win the games for District 12. The dinner concludes on a somber note, with both tributes returning to their rooms without finishing their meals. The next day, during training, The careers continue to showcase their formidable combat skills. Initially, Peta struggles, even with simple tasks like climbing a rope net, much to the amusement of the careers. However, he manages to impress them with a display of his remarkable strength by effortlessly throwing a heavy metal ball. Additionally, he shares his exceptional camouflage abilities with Katniss. Next, we see Katniss at the evaluation, where she impresses the sponsors by hitting an apple placed in a roasted pig's mouth with a single arrow. She then bows out with a curt greeting. 3 days later, the results are announced, and Katniss scores a remarkable 11 out of 12, surpassing even careers like Marvin from District 1 and Glimmer from District 2. Peta, on the other hand, receives a respectable 8. Behind the scenes, President Snow expresses displeasure upon learning that Game Master Seneca gave Katniss such a high score. He reminds Seneca that the games exist to solidify the capital's control over the districts by offering just a little glimmer of hope, not too much. In the following scene, Haymitch informs Katniss that he will accompany her to the interview on the last day of training. He also reveals that Peta insisted on training alone, which is common at this stage, as ultimately only one of them will survive. On the final day of training, the ever-charming Caesar Flickerman hosts an interview with all the tributes for the televised audience. Katniss, now known as the Girl on Fire thanks to her impressive entrance at the parade, captivates the studio crowd with her awkward yet honest answers and stunning flaming dress. Meanwhile, Peta, already known for his good looks, launches a charm offensive, confidently expressing his admiration for Katniss. Backstage, Katniss is initially upset by this revelation, but Cinna, Trinket, and Haymitch urge her to continue playing along, as it helps her secure sponsors. Later that night, Katniss discovers that Peta's feelings are genuine, and not just a performance for the cameras. The day of the games arrives. As the tributes make their way to the artificial arena, Cinna gifts Katniss the Mockingjay pin badge she earlier gave to her sister. Emerging from tubes into the arena, the tributes see a cornucopia, a horn-shaped canopy overflowing with supplies placed at the center. When the buzzer signals the start of the games, Katniss avoids the frantic rush towards the cornucopia and sprints into the forest with a bag of supplies. Running and falling without catching her breath, she reaches the depths of the forest, climbs a tree, and disappears from the eyes of others. However, her solitude is short-lived. Soon, the career group, composed of Marvel and Glimmer from District 1, Clove from District 2, and their leader Gatto, arrive, laughing. To her surprise, Peta appears to have joined them in hopes of prolonging his survival. By nightfall, roughly half the tributes are dead, their demise announced by a haunting cannon boom. Alone and terrified, Katniss manages to sleep on the tree branch, unaware of the capital's omnipresent cameras observing her every move. The next morning, Katniss awakens to a raging forest fire engulfing the area. She leaps from the tree and flees towards the outskirts, desperately trying to remain hidden from the other tributes. However, Game Maker Seneca directs fireballs towards her, ultimately forcing her into the open, where the career group spots her. They chase her up a tree, but Peta intervenes, urging them to wait until she is forced down by hunger. That night, while her pursuers sleep, Haymitch, through the sponsors, sends Katniss a gift, a lotion to soothe her burn scars. As dawn breaks, Rue, a young tribute from District 11, skilled in climbing and hiding, signals Katniss to a nest of deadly genetically engineered wasps called Tracker Jackers above her head. Katniss swiftly cuts the branch holding the nest, sending it tumbling onto the sleeping careers. The furious wasps swarm Glimmer, killing her instantly, while the others scramble to escape. Unfortunately, Katniss suffers a sting herself and, while retrieving a bow and arrow from Glimmer's body, hallucinates about her father's fatal mining accident. Peta rushes to her side, urging her to flee, but Katniss succumbs to unconsciousness. Upon waking several days later, Katniss discovers Rue has cared for her and helped her heal. Rue reveals that Peta is still alive, hiding down by the river. Meanwhile, the careers have gathered all the supplies into a pyramid near the cornucopia, laying traps around it to lure unsuspecting survivors. Katniss hatches a daring plan. Rue will create distractions with fire while Katniss detonates the supply pyramid. A short while later, using a bag of apples and a well-placed arrow, Katniss successfully destroys the stockpile. However, Rue is captured during the chaos. Reacting quickly, Katniss frees Rue from a net, only to be attacked by Marvel from District 1. He throws a spear at Katniss, which she narrowly dodges, and she retaliates by shooting him in the chest with an arrow. But in a tragic turn of events, the deflected spear pierces through Rue, killing her in Katniss's arms. Grief-stricken but fueled by anger and determination, Katniss raises 3 fingers towards the cameras, a Mockingjay symbol, a symbol of defiance. This act, coupled with the death of a young child, ignites a small-scale riot against the peacekeepers in District 11. Observing this unfolding drama, game maker Seneca plots to eliminate Katniss. However, a cunning Haymitch intervenes, suggesting a rule change that would allow 2 victors if they hail from the same district. This scheme would create a compelling young lovers narrative between Katniss and Peeta, likely boosting television ratings. Nonetheless, President Snow warns Seneca against fueling any sense of rebellion or empowerment in the outer districts. Despite the warnings, Seneca announces the new rule, allowing 2 tributes from the same district to be victors provided that they survive till the end. This prompts Katniss to locate Peeta, who has cleverly camouflaged himself as a rock by the riverbank. Unfortunately, Peeta lies severely injured, his leg ravaged by a sword wound. While the young couple displays affection for the cameras, another plot twist arises. Seneca announces a feast near the cornucopia, where crucial supplies will be placed. Disregarding Peeta's pleas, Katniss slips away while he sleeps, determined to acquire the medicine he desperately needs. Under the harsh sunlight, Katniss witnesses Foxface, the cunning girl tribute from District 5, snatching her bag of supplies and fleeing. Katniss races towards the bag marked 12 and retrieves it, but is ambushed by Clove from District 2 before she can escape. Holding a knife to Katniss's throat, Clove boasts about killing Rue. In a sudden turn of events, Thresh, the male tribute from District 11, appears and kills Clove in revenge for Rue's death. He spares Katniss, remembering Rue, and disappears into the woods. Clutching the medicine, Katniss hurries back to Peeta. Miraculously, by morning, the medicine has healed his wounds. The District 12 tributes venture out together to hunt. Peeta predicts Cato's location near the cornucopia, as he is unfamiliar with the forest, while Foxface, the elusive tribute from District 5, could be anywhere due to her remarkable hiding skills. To increase their chances, they split up to search for food. Just as Katniss aims to shoot a bird, a cannon blast echoes through the arena, causing her to rush back. Fearing the worst for Peeta, she finds him unharmed but unknowingly picking poisonous berries. Thankfully, he hasn't ingested any yet. However, they soon discover the lifeless body of Foxface, who succumbed to the deadly berries. Back in the control center, head game maker Seneca hatches a sinister plan to expedite the game's conclusion. He accelerates the night cycle and unleashes a pack of genetically modified, bloodthirsty hounds into the arena. Soon, Thresh, District 11's last remaining tribute, falls victim to their brutal attack. Barely escaping a hound's assault, Katniss and Peeta race towards the arena's center, where they find themselves cornered by the pack. They scramble up the cornucopia, where an injured Cato awaits them. As they fight precariously on the structure, Cato's demeanor seems to soften, perhaps shaken by the bloodshed and hatred he witnessed in the games. Ultimately, Katniss and Peeta gain the upper hand, and Peeta throws Cato to the hounds. Katniss follows with an arrow, ending his suffering quickly. In the morning, a sense of relief washes over the 2 tributes as they descend from the cornucopia, having survived and achieved victory together. However, their joy is short-lived when game maker Seneca announces a cruel twist. Only one of them can be the victor, refusing to be pawns in the Capitol's game. Both Katniss and Peeta reach for the poisonous berries they collected earlier. This act of defiance and potential double suicide threatens a humiliating ideological defeat for the Capitol. Just in time, Seneca relents and declares them both victors, ending the games on a surprising and unorthodox note. In the wake of their unexpected victory, Haymitch cautions Katniss and Peeta that the Capitol won't tolerate their defiance lightly. He advises them to maintain their facade of love, garnering the public's continued support and ensuring their safety. Meanwhile, game maker Seneca, responsible for the disastrous game's management, faces his own punishment, locked in a room with only a plate of poisonous berries. As the movie concludes, President Snow's watchful gaze remains fixed on Katniss and District 12, a dark suspicion of rebellion brewing in his mind.